It's Mike Matthews, the host of the longest running self-produced daily podcast. And on today's podcast, it's what a week we had. What a bunch of crazy things happened. And yet more crazy stuff continues. But we got the interesting stuff, all the good stuff. And I've said the word stuff 8,000 times since this podcast has begun. So thank you for listening. Hey, let me open this door for you and let you into Café Anyway. Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's episode 2929. 2929. The numbered podcast so nice they named it twice. Mike's Daily Podcast. It's Mike Matthews. Did you know Fleet Week is going on? That means a lot of planes are flying over our heads. And they're going really fast, making a lot of noise. And everybody gets really upset. That's okay, because it's a tradition. It's been going on in the Bay Area a long time, though you can only see it if you're in the San Francisco area, maybe Berkeley, or slightly behind Oakland. Mike's Daily Podcast. That's my show song today. I hope you enjoyed it. Although I don't really care because my sinuses have decided to fly away to a land called Linus. Podcast. They live in a land called Linus. Yeah. Interesting, after all this time, that Peanuts, that would be the Snoopy and Charlie Brown gang, has not been bought by Disney. If they have, I have not seen them in any Disney parks. But if you do go to a Disney park, and I have not been to a Disney park in over 20 years, you will notice that the prices have gone up. There's a YouTuber that I watch quite a bit, and he is always at Disneyland. And he's like, oh, I got passes. I got year passes. So it doesn't cost me that much to go to... and he'll go to Disneyland and not even ride a ride. He just walks around filming, videoing. He has a bazillion subscribers. He has a bazillion views for each video. And there are a bazillion other YouTubers just like him that do the same thing, or TikTokers as well. And they just film... just walk around filming Disneyland. Oh, look, this is that new ride that they took in Splash Mountain used to be, and now it's this other one. Wow. Look at this. It's Halloween. Look at it. It's got Halloween stuff. And I'll watch it because I did go to Disneyland a lot as a kid. I lived in the San Fernando Valley. It was about an hour and a half drive for us with the traffic and everything. So my parents were taking us down there. The summer camp I was with was taking us down there. Friends were taking me down there with their families.
And here's today's podcast picture.
So many extraordinary memories from that place. Well, the prices are going up. But before we go into that, and before I go into more of my Trump delivery, because he's so tired these days. I know. He's been doing a lot of traveling. And, oh yeah, let's not forget, he's old too. Everybody on the far right was pointing their finger at Biden. Look how old he is. Look, he messes his pants, to put it nicely. And then you got Trump passing gas. You know who else used to do that? The late great Basil the Boxer. He passed gas quite a bit. Boxers are known for that. And there is not a picture of him at mikesdailypodcast.com. The podcast picture is of yours truly, I think. Yes, over at this place called Rockaway Beach. And it's a neat beach that's in Pacifica, between Pedro Point and the Pacifica Pier, in that area. I was walking around there on Tuesday, just nobody there. It was wonderful. I had it all to myself. See that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. I loved that. Here at Café Anyway, we have this wonderful elixir. It's called water. And I've been drinking that lately because I've been drinking too much coffee.
Life grand.
Yes, life is grand. Especially with coffee. But it'll turn on you quick. If you have too much of it, oof. Your body does not like it. It's either that or the sudden change in the temperature. It went from over 100 degrees to now it's like 60 outside in the middle of the day. So my body doesn't know what's going on. It's freaking out. But maybe a trip to Disneyland would work it all out. I know somebody who got a stroke after going to Disneyland. That one of the rides, one of the newer Star Wars rides, he claimed precipitated it. So maybe I shouldn't go there because he's not too much older than me. Disneyland raised about a 6% price increase on most park tickets. 6%. And 20% on annual passes. That's crazy. 20% annual passes. So that guy that I watch on YouTube all the time, he's going to have to pay 20% more. Wow. What's the cliche? So how much exactly do you pay for the cliche? A single day ticket?
What's the cliche of the week?
In peak season, up to $206. $206 to get into Disneyland. I forget what my mom paid when we would go. It certainly was not $206. The ability to hop between the parks on the same day is going to cost you another $75, depending on the season. What's the cliche of the week? Going to Disneyland. What's the cliche of the week? Hey, I got my ballots. My ballots came in the mail, so that might be a fun activity this weekend to go over that and get it done and mail it off like now. So then I can just pretend I don't have to listen anymore to any more of the stupid political news I'm so sick of. There's this Imagine Key Pass that increased up to $600. Used to be around $500. Then a paid skip the line service called Lightning Lane Multipass. I think it was called Genie at one point, or the Fast Pass. It's now $32. Disney World raised prices. That would be the place out in Florida, which they just reopened today after horrible Milton. It raised prices for the past 35 years. It has raised its prices 22 times. And in the past 35 years, Universal... News random. Universal, because they've got 2 parks, soon to have a 3rd park called Epic Universe. They've increased their prices 23 times in the past 35 years. Universal raised prices a few days after Disney would raise them. So Disney would first raise them and then Universal would do it. Because they follow Disney and do whatever. They seem to be the follower of Disney. Very few times has Disney followed Universal, except for when they made that Disney MGM Studios and tried to make their own Universal Studios, which is now Disney Hollywood, which looks ridiculous from what I've seen from the YouTubers that go there and walk around. It's just got a Muppet ride. It's a Muppet theater thing, which they have in Anaheim. They got the Runaway Train, which used to only be in Florida, but now that's in Anaheim as well. You're on a train and it's all this projected scenery around you as you're moving along on a train.
Like scavenger hunt.
That disconnects and moves out. And so now it's an interesting ride from what I've seen. And I've done my scavenger hunt looking through YouTube, trying to see all the rides that are at all these Disney parks. And then, of course, the Disney Shanghai park has some amazing rides that don't even exist here in America. The cheapest time to go, the tickets cost about $104 in Disneyland, rather, the California Disney California Adventure in Disneyland, is only available during 10 weekdays in January and 5 weekdays in February, when it costs $104. So speaking of all these crazy elections, and I just got the ballot today, and I'm going to do my research, the election spending...
For your entertainment.
Get this.
The one.
What?
The only. Mike Matthews.
You can see the imperfection in this milk was that the cow had gotten into a patch of asparagus. I did not quote that precisely from Napoleon Dynamite, but wow. When are we going to get a Napoleon Dynamite land? They did do a cartoon after it, didn't they? This year's spending to elect a president and members of Congress will hit at least $16 billion. 2024 is on track to become the nation's most expensive federal election, surprise, surprise, helping to drive up the price tag, blistering spending by outside groups, including deep-pocketed super PACs. Hey, all you people that want to advertise, you can advertise on Mike's Daily Podcast. Right now, we don't have an advertiser, just me saying, hey.
Yo, the Mike tip.
Here's my mic tip. Go to mikesdailypodcast.com because I pay for it. And it's got cool things there, like my podcast pictures and past podcasts. And my little radio station too. That's there too, with the best obscure rock songs found by Mike. Yeah, mikesdailypodcast.com. That's my only advertisement. The top 5 mega donors outside groups, the top 5 mega donors all donate to Republican candidates. There may be a saturation point where elections can no longer get more expensive. However, we have not reached that yet, that threshold. The super PAC aiding Trump's presidential campaign. Oh, by the way, I said the word ridiculous about 8 billion times last podcast. I noticed that one. That was the one called slumber. I should have called it ridiculous. But wow, shuts wow. Interesting point. The super PAC aiding Trump's presidential campaign is Make America Great Again. And they have spent more than $240 million. And in Future Forward, that's the primary super PAC supporting Vice President Kamala Harris, has spent more than $212 million. So outspending, Trump is super PAC is outspending Kamala's by about $27. Hi, it's Mike Math. Mike Matthews Math. Or as the Brits say, maths. By 27 million. 27 million more bucks are going to Trump. Okay. What I find so fascinating, if we won't do this because we're sharks here in America. We're fast. We're just always thinking, moving ahead. We hardly ever look back. If you don't look at your history, you're doomed to repeat it.
The Newsbleed section.
But here in the Newsbleed section, I wanted to tell you, we'll look back at this election and we'll take it apart, and there'll be some documentary about it, and we'll pick it apart and go, wow, this was insane. The candidate, well, certain candidates more than others are way insane. How did that happen? What was going on in America at that point? How is this allowed to happen? And I know there are people that are still they're gonna be like, okay, so it goes like this. Trump says something like this, like, I think that we all need to start eating paint chips. Okay, he'll say something like that. And then all these right-wing talk show hosts say the following. He's absolutely right. It's paint chips that are the best thing to eat. They're really good for you. Better than any of this ridiculous Impossible Burger crap. And if our kids and our pets and everybody, our grandparents...
Wine. Well, I like
The whiny white man wine list.
And I'm going to whine now that we're not eating enough paint chips, because if all those people ate paint chips, we'd be a much better country. You know who's trying to stop us from eating paint chips? The media. The right wing, I almost said conservative media. That would not be... Someone on the right wing conservative media would not care about this. But they always complain that media, corporate media in general, are against whatever they stand for. So they would be against paint chips, eating them. And they become these apologists for whatever Trump says, even if it's the most wackadoo woo. What did he just say? Huh? Number 1%. I don't get no what? Gibberish. So we'll see what happens. But there's just $16 billion is making this storm happen. And
that's a nightmare of a show.
It is a nightmare of a show. It's a nightmare of an election. So I'm going to vote this weekend and get that out of my system. But someone who's a big supporter of Trump, he did not do so well recently. Yesterday, he did a big event touting the Tesla robotaxi, talking about Elon Musk. It was a big reveal, a big company reveal. Then his stock took a dive today after he did it yesterday. But then Uber stock shot up. And I think Waymo, their stock shot up because it's basically Elon opening the door saying, I can make this happen.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This is great.
And people are like, oh, okay, well, you're a wackadoo, gibberish, oddball that we don't believe in, so we're not going to put more money into your stock. We're going to go and help out these other people that we really believe in. So that's one interpretation I heard one financial expert say. But yeah, that happened this week. And then also, Mega Millions lottery is more than doubling the price of a ticket. I never do it, but apparently it is going to cost you $5. The multi-state lottery game is promising that the bigger prizes will come from this bigger price and better odds. And this will start in April of 2025, next year. Social Security benefits will increase 2.5%. They couldn't round that up and make it 3%. And that starts next year. Starting in January, the increase will add a little under $50 to the average monthly benefit, which is roughly around $1,900. $50.
So my kids keep me humbled.
Oh, gosh.
Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble.
How on earth would you even... The candidate you're supporting has no humility in it. What the heck? His speeches are all about talking about how great he is. I don't get that. What I'm saying is next year, when we pick this all apart and make a big documentary going over everything that happened at the election, I want people like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and I want people that are writing things like this, that I want them to all be grilled and asked, what were you thinking? Why were you supporting this kind of crazy? So this is the rationalization people have for hating Kamala. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but there's someone named Carol Platt-Liebau that says the following. Next year, could a woman beater be living in the White House? Wait, is she talking about Trump? What's this? What? You're someone that supports Trump? Why would you say that? It goes on. According to reports in the Daily Mail and the New York Post, if Kamala wins, the answer is yes. 3 women...
And look, my high school students know this, and my players knew this. You play hard, the other team plays hard, and after the game, if you lose, you'll walk across and shake hands and congratulate the other team. That's the way it works. In politics, you take it another step forward. You walk across and congratulate the winner, and then you pledge to do all you can to help them succeed, because that's good for America.
So let's just say, so that doesn't happen. Let's say if Kamala wins and nobody on the right goes, oh, we support you. So because Carol Platt-Liebau says 3 women accused Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, of slapping his girlfriend so hard she spun around, then climbing in a cab with her when she tried to escape him. They've provided photos and documentation that corroborate their story. Emhoff's staff has denied it, but these women have offered far more evidence than Brett Kavanaugh's accuser, Christine Blasey Ford, ever did. Yet Kamala Harris lauded Blasey Ford's courage in a written tribute for Time magazine. So how could she support Christine Blasey Ford and not and support her husband simultaneously? Oh, she is such a hypocrite. Carol Platt-Liebau goes on. Now, no member of the media dares ask Harris whether we should still believe all women. Is Carol Platt-Liebau saying we shouldn't believe all women? Isn't she a woman? I know she's a woman. What the hashtag Me Too movement is well and truly dead is well and truly dead? How can it be well and truly dead? At the hands of Doug Emhoff and Kamala Harris with the conspicuous complicity of legacy media. How on earth? So legacy media, if there really is a thing like legacy media, then why don't they broadcast Trump's speeches? Why don't they sit there and play the whole thing, get all the gas passing, get all the weird rambling? He's in Detroit and putting down Detroit at the same time. He's there to speak, and he's like, oh, if Kamala's president, this whole country's going to look like this city. Putting down the city rather than putting down the city, and other weird things that he says. Hey, I am not at all alien to weird things being said on this podcast, but it's Mike's Daily Podcast, and we're at Café Anyway. And I'm just going, what? Everybody putting down Trump. I'm sorry, let me back this up. Okay, everybody that was putting down, well, no, this is interesting. Everybody putting down Trump now with all of his old, like he's old, he looks burnt out, he looks really tired now. He's having bodily function issues. That was the exact same thing the people on the other side were saying about Joe Biden when he was still running for president. Now they've let him go. They were like, okay, he's out of here in a couple months. But I distinctly remember Ted Cruz saying something about Joe Biden's bodily functions earlier this year. So it's just what one side says about the other person, they could probably flip it and say it about their own person, is all I'm saying, what you get. Okay, look who's here. Hello, Mega Masters, Madame Rootabega. Oh, that's very interesting. What's a huckabee? A huckabee? It's not an actual insect. Well, I don't know. I've never, maybe I've discovered a new breed of bee called a huckabee that flies around and has problems with Kamala not having biological kids, which is odd. So, do you like bees? Yes. Do you like insects? Yes. Do you like honey? No. What? How can you not like? Everybody loves honey. That's why they say, you should you get better bees with honey when they say don't say mean things about other people. Somebody probably just said that to me as I was saying things on this podcast. Look who else is here.
Hello, Dave, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, we hear there's going to be sharks in Pacifica Day.
Yeah, Pacifica. Do you know that? Actually, that was funny. I stuck my legs in the water when it got really hot. And I was in Pacifica, and I told one of the locals about that. Like, hey, I was in your beach. I stuck my legs in the water. And he goes, you didn't get bit? So maybe there's something to that. But there is a special shark exhibit that's going to be at one of the little shops that has all kinds of cool stuff related to dinosaurs and plants and animals and flora and fauna. And they got a couple of cool fish tanks, but they're going to have some kind of shark exhibit at this place tomorrow. So I might check that out. And then there's Fleet Week going on and all kinds of celebrations and whatnot. It's a big thing in the Bay Area, San Francisco specifically, and all of that. Oh, and there will be some protests, just a heads up. These guys over here that I think they're a pro-Palestine thing, they're going to be protesting the annual SF Fleet Week at the Ferry Building on Sunday. Oh, wow. October 13th from 12 to 4. It'll be the International League of People's Struggles. And the Northern California Resist U.S.-led war movement and Veterans for Peace will be there. So there will be some protests going on this weekend because of that in the Bay Area, which is not a stranger to protests. And I'm not a stranger to playing the phone number if you would like to not be a stranger and tell me what you think about anything we covered today on the podcast.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-5600.
Will ya shut ups? Liberty Nation Freedom Foam for All.
And with all things to do with the Mike's Daily Podcast show, where to go, mikesdailypodcast.com, all that information. We go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!